Tonight at 7 p.m. here in the town offices. The meeting is being recorded, but we're having some technical difficulties with our Zoom now, so folks that were trying to Zoom in, they'll be challenged, but we'll maybe be able to get the folks in through Zoom a little later. We have a lot on the agenda tonight. We're going to go to our open session citizen concerns first. And the first item we have is Jim, I want to say this right, Blau? Blau, okay, Jim Blau. And Brian Reddy, DBA Birchwood Construction, requests to place 10 square foot of patio and a 30-foot no impervious surface setback at 28 6th Lane. Mr. Coons, you want to give the commission just a little background on this thing before we...
Let me just pull up the, I thought I had gone to the directory, but let me just, there we are. So, commission members hopefully recall that the commission issued back in, what was the date? July 22nd, 2024, the commission issued an order of conditions approving demolition and followed by reconstruction of the house at 28 6th Lane. It also included a new dock and some other improvements around the property. With some plantings. On that plan, on the approved plan, which I will bring up right now, this is the plan that was approved. It does not show a patio, a fire pit surrounded by a patio. But now the applicants are asking for permission to put in a patio. I gather the gas line is already installed.
Yes.
And so they're asking to be able to put to do the patio with about 10 feet of impervious pavers in the 30-foot no impervious setback from the wetlands. So that is a that's in the bylaw. That is a setback in the bylaw. So had some back and forth conversations with the applicants and the representative, Mr. Reedy, about what was maybe the best way to go about this, from the perspective of all parties. And what we decided on was the best thing to do is just to come and have an informal conversation with the commission, try and get a sense of how the commission feels about this, and ideally to get a yes or no answer tonight. I mean, obviously the hoped for answer is yes. And it also, it should be pointed out that the grout is pervious. The pavers are impervious, but the grout is pervious.
Okay. Well, thank you, David.
I think, and I'll just say, I think, if the commission were would allow this, I mean, it's certainly not an environmental disaster, but the concern, of course, is the precedent. It would need a waiver. What is there a good reason for the waiver? And if the commission sets the precedent, then others will probably ask.
Thanks, David, for the overview. Brian, is there anything you want to add at this point?
Just wanted to recap. We did spend quite a bit of time trying to understand, and I'll take responsibility for the mistake. We were out of the 25-foot, and I don't think, I personally considered the 30-foot setback to be problematic. Originally, we're going to use what was called placer stone, which is really a slab of stone that's cut through and put in, and there's quite a bit of grout area to it. The problem being, the Blows want to be safe there. They don't feel walking out in the evening onto split stone, which appears level, but is really not. They're going to have chairs surrounding the fire pit, and they don't want to have the chair and the grout and moving around. They just feel much more comfortable with the brick pavers that are, again, permeable to a point, but certainly you could argue which was more permeable. In any rate, the stone itself is impermeable, though it has grout lines. We would use the non-polymeric sand, which does not, it allows water to drain through. Based on what I could find, it was 5 to 15% pass-through rate. So what we would like to do is the entire 250-foot patio we would do in sand, which would get us about 25 feet of pervious area in the patio itself. Once we get out of the 30-foot, we could use the polymeric sand, and we're not going to do that, obviously, for the color change anyways, but we felt it was kind of a bit of a gift to give us that area, but it's still going to have some pervious area. The other thing we can do, and I don't think it's a large number, but if we want over at this is literally expanding into the 30-foot, 1.8 feet, and the distance squared is, I believe, about 8 feet. Maybe it could be as much as 10. That is in the 30-foot setback of the 250-foot. Moving in that small amount, that 1.5 feet, I don't know if, oh, we have it. Where you can see that 18-foot markers. This is the concern where they don't want to go into the plantings that have been done here. They just want a little space there for a grass area, for the look, for the style. And the gas line has been put in, so this could be relocated 18 inches. This area right here is what gets into the 30-foot. This could come over 18 inches, and it would no longer be in the 30-foot. If we lose 18, this is 18 feet, but if we lose 18 inches here, it's just become a narrow strip. That's kind of the dilemma. Nobody wants to move the gas line. It's been installed. It was anticipated. We did talk with Dave about putting that in when we did it. We just didn't understand where we were in the big picture. So that's our hope, is that we've given enough to see you've given us a waiver for this. There are other options, but this is certainly the best one. And with Dave and Jim and Donna, we tried to find the best way to have a meeting of the minds. I think they're much more comfortable with a solid paver as opposed to the plaster stone, which has a great look, but they're really not that secure. And I can't honestly tell you how big those grout lines and how that would add up to being more impervious or more pervious. I just don't know.
Okay.
So that was the path we took.
All right, well, thanks, Brian. Let's
Thank
see
you.
what the commission has for comments and questions. We'll start with Mr. Vines. Bill?
I went out there Friday morning, took a look at it, because I've been out there before when they were doing the house, and I wasn't sure where this patio was and location was. So I went out, the gas pipe, I think it'd be a lot of work to move the gas pipe. It's a pretty substantial pipe, believe it or not, for a fire pit, but to move it wouldn't make sense. The silt fence and the hay bales, the silt fence and the silt sock are still up around where the 25-foot is at the top of that hill. It's about 15 feet or so from the patio down to the waters, where the water is, the elevation. And that hill's hasn't been touched. It's natural. I don't have a problem with the waiver on the 1.5 feet. For what I'd like to see, possibly, if you could pitch the patio a little bit, just so that no water would go towards the lake, maybe set it back. But it's such a small, I mean, you're talking this much into the 30, and then it goes to nothing on the sides. If you looked at it, I think you'd feel the same as me. I mean, I'm just one person here, but common sense would say just not to move the gas pipe. That'd be crazy. But the waiver, that's why we have waivers, for something similar, for a situation like this where it's not much. I looked at it too as if we would, maybe we could ask them to do a little planting or something, but I don't, based on what they've got around there now, I don't know would that be adding to anything. It's already naturally vegetated, so. But I don't have a problem with it, so I looked at it.
All right, Bill, thanks for your comments for now. Let's move right along. Mark?
Yeah, the waiver doesn't seem like a great big deal. I hate to set precedents in that, but I think that's basically non-pervious, the stone and mortar joints, right? You said it was 5 to 15%, somewhere around there.
Correct.
So I think what Billy touched on too was trying to keep that water from going over the hill and eroding it.
We could certainly grade that with like a 1/4-inch pitch, would be a sewer pipe pitch, that would bring all the water back towards the home, and then it could migrate around.
Yeah, I think that'd be one solution. Possibly a planning, like he said, like Bill mentioned. But all in all, I don't have a problem with it.
All right, thanks, Mark, for now. Mally, on to you.
I agree with Dave about setting the precedent, and I agree with Mr. Vines about not wanting to move the pipe. I mean, are you guys married to this kind of egg shape? I mean, I haven't been out there, obviously, but in terms of losing a chair or two and squaring it off?
It's honestly more egg-shaped from the radius it was, because we wanted to improve that. We wanted to get
Sure.
of it. Squeeze it in, one of the Adirondack chairs are anticipated, and it's not yet built, so it's a
Right,
little
right.
hard to say, the fire's hot, we wanted some room to be able to sit there on a warmer night or a colder
Sure.
night and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
The look is not to square it, I just, to be honest, from a standpoint of aesthetics,
Sure.
we spent some time on it.
Yeah, it's different, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Ally. Peter?
Well, there's a lot of ways to look at this, isn't there? If it was my house, I'd be in your shoes. But on the other hand, something was built without a permit. So I don't think
No, sir, nothing's been built without.
well, right, I'm sorry. The gas pipe was put in, and that was not in the original plans. But putting that aside,
To be honest with you,
Okay, Brian, let's, Brian,
Yeah.
let's why
why don't we
let's
make,
let Peter
I'm happy
kind
to
of-
chat, happy to
let's-
talk, chat with you,
Let's
but
have,
just,
let's have Peter
I wanna
make his
throw some
comments
thoughts.
and questions, and then you can come back up and rebut, okay? Rather than, we
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
get into like a back and forth.
yeah. So all I'm trying to say is for this board and for our future, I don't like the idea that I've already built something, therefore I want a waiver. I do think that's a bad precedent. On the other hand, this is the project that I recall, the applicant was happy to put in lots of native shrubs. And back to the net environmental impact that this board, is here to think about, I agree, it's not a big deal. You've done some other things to, the word is mitigate or improve the environment. My opinion would be, I'd be okay with a waiver if we have some assurance that the nice big trees along the shore, and Bill, you mentioned the shoreline vegetation is intact, and David, that may be in the permit that we issued a while back, but to me, if you maintain the shoreline integrity, plant, these lovely native trees, it's a pretty minor impact.
I think there were a couple of trees, remind me, was there 1 or 2 trees that were coming down back there?
Well, there's some on the plan, yeah.
Yeah, sorry?
No more trees are coming down.
No more, but I think there already were, I think, at least 1 or 2 that came down.
Well, is this, Bill, do you recall you were out there, there's,
Those trees that are shown on the plan are there.
four big well, they look like big lovely oak trees.
Those are there.
Yeah, or maybe there's more than that, there's
So-
5.
So do you see the screen now? So.
They're still there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, there was one, remove existing tree,
yeah.
right up
Yeah.
here.
But the
So-
point is, and apologies for not having seen the site, but I mean, if the shoreline is kept more or less intact, I mean, I realize, yeah. You know. I do have one quick question, though, for our agent. We went through this on our other lake, and we were concerned about setting a precedent, David. And I don't think we want to have a big discussion right now, but
Well, I
you may
can,
have some good ideas to help minimize this being a precedent.
Well, I think I think something has to be given in return. I don't know whether it's, again, planting additional shrubs. In the case of Russell Road, it was sort of about, what was the lesser of two negatives? And because it was squashed in between two wetlands, and the commission determined that to get it within the 50-foot no-build to one wetland was less of an environmental impact than putting it in the 50-foot no-build setback for the other wetland. So, I mean, I think it would be good. It would be easier to justify the waiver, I think, if something were offered in return. Some sort of mitigation, for lack of a better term. Just my opinion.
Okay.
All right, you want to take the podium, respond to any of these comments at this point?
Would you guys be comfortable with some additional plantings?
Yeah, we actually did more than we were required to in terms of plantings. I don't know if that is.
There you go.
Mitigates
I think we're supposed to do 3 trees, we did 5.
Mhm.
So maybe that's the good faith you're looking for.
Mhm. That helps, in my opinion, that helps.
Yeah, sounds
The
fair.
the anticipation at the end of the patio is to leave it completely as it's been forever. It falls down 15 feet to the water. It's scrub oaks, it's pines, it's a lot of lamb's breath this spring. I couldn't help but notice how much of that there was. But it's grown in quite well with the plantings that are going to act to mitigate the water that does, if it gets over the edge, come down to the edge. We're more than willing to tilt it, and not in a dramatic way. Like I said, a 1/4 inch should be plenty to allow any water that comes to shed towards the home or towards the stairway.
Could you get us a profile plan? Just so we have it on the record?
Yeah, so this is graded here. This is all gradient. This area here begins, I don't know if this can move over. These are the grades going down to the water. You
But,
can see it's very dramatic. But this area here has no anticipation, it's gonna be natural.
You talking about the patio?
yeah, I'm talking about the patio. It'd be nice to have a profile view showing just what you're describing.
Patio
that it's
going away
gonna
from the
drain
water.
away from the water.
Literally, I mean, a sewer line gets a 1/4 inch pitch, so this whole thing will be set, instead of dead level, you just pitch it a 1/4. You'd never feel it, you'd never see it, but water will shed away from the pond.
Would a note on the plan suffice?
Yeah, I think it'd be good to have some kind of record.
They just
Yeah,
described
if
it
not,
forward.
an actual plan with profile, at least a note saying, that the patio will be,
Graded away from the pond?
yes, yes,
Pitched a 1/4 to a foot.
yeah.
I mean, it's a fairly small patch, it's 18 feet wide, so it'd be about a 4-inch pitch across the whole thing, 1.5 inch pitch.
Because at some point, I don't know how, years down the line, probably commission successors, my successor, will see this plan and say, well, they're going into the 30-foot, no impervious surface, why was that allowed? And so, again, it would be good to have some kind of record of that.
I think we can do that without problem,
Okay.
certainly.
And
So David, question for you. So we're in having the informal discussion, which I think has been good. Procedurally, where do we go from here at this point? Do we take a vote with some conditions at this point, or do we?
Well,
where do we go procedurally?
there's a couple ways. Yeah, I think even though on the agenda it doesn't say vote possible, I don't think it would be a problem for you to take a vote tonight. I think that would ideally be the easiest way for all of us. The other way to do it is to have a formal request for an amended order of conditions, submitting this plan. I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
I think, commission can approve it tonight. Yeah, in the motion, I would make the condition to have a note on the plan, revise the plan to put a note on it saying it's being pitched by such and such amount away from the water so that it will drain in the opposite direction. And then vote that motion, and then on the as-built plan, submit an as-built plan showing the patio.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Bill, you want to make a motion?
I move that we approve the waiver for the patio, and with the 1/4 inch to a foot
Away from the water.
away from the water. Is there anything else we want to?
We're going to have the note on the plan.
noted on the plan, but.
On the plan, and then the as-built, I think we said something about the as-built as well.
Yes, yes. And then, at some point, I'll put a copy of the minutes in the file as well, so,
Minutes and file.
so there will be a good record of
Okay.
this.
Good, all right, so we have a motion from Bill, so a second, Peter on the second. Any discussion before we vote? Mark?
Are you requesting a plan of the quarter-inch pitch, or just a description of it?
A note on revising this plan, to put a note.
I heard
That's
it was a
what I'm
note.
saying.
Okay, that's fine,
That's what I
yeah.
heard.
I don't think it's necessary to put a plan showing that.
Yeah. Okay.
Second.
Okay, we got a second already.
Oh, we did,
Beat
sorry,
you,
second.
but Any more comments, questions, though, before we vote?
I just wanted to
Yes,
make the
Peter.
comment, I appreciate the plantings and saving the trees, because again, we're here for a net benefit. And if you had cut down all the trees, personally, I wouldn't have been that happy, even though I realize it's minor, but thank you for doing that. Yeah, that's good.
The original property.
Yeah.
Took care for that.
Yeah. Enjoy the birds.
All right, well, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? None unanimous. All right, so we're good. Thank you, folks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, next up on tonight's agenda is a presentation from Mr. Barry Moore from NEMBA, proposing a new trail at Russell Mill.
Everybody can see that, can't they? Because I don't think I can enlarge it any more than that.
Pretty good,
Okay.
pretty good, yeah. Mr. Moore?
My name is Barry Moore. I live at 8 Bayberry Drive, and I'm here on behalf of the Merrimack Valley chapter of the New England Mountain Bike Association. So our proposal this evening is relatively minor in nature. It's an addition to a trail that's referred to as part of the green, what's it called here? The Green Birdhouse Loop. And
Let me know if you want to go to the next slide.
okay,
when you do.
yep. So, we're still on this page here.
Oh, okay.
So this came about, so this part of the trail has the greatest gradient in the whole park, in the whole parcel. So the thought behind it is if we can separate some of the uses where we're taking high-speed bikes that may be coming downhill, we're taking them off of that trail that the hikers typically are on. So by separating them, we're therefore making the trail system safer for all users. This is really the only part in the parcel where you would have that type of speed. So if there was an interaction, a hiker was coming up the main trail and a biker was coming down, you have the greatest speed differential. So really the goal for us is to get bikes off of that double track, to have a trail that is aligned to the side of it that is more inviting to riders, and that way you have that natural separation of user groups. So yeah, we can go to the next slide here. I know it's a little bit small.
I can enlarge this a little. A little bit more.
So this just shows the general area of where the realignment would be. And it adds about 1/3 of a mile of trail. So then the next one will actually show you the actual proposed trail that we have. All right, so that better shows the green loop. So this is, as you come in from the main trail on the water, it is the double track trail that goes up the main hill that goes to the top of Old Sullivan Road. So that's all the existing trail. So you can go to the next page there. Again, this shows the area that we've currently flagged out, and we've done a site walk with people in our organization. All right, I think the next slide shows the actual
So the yellow is
The
what?
yellow is just the area.
Oh, okay.
So it's the space between the green trail and then that white dotted trail.
So where is the new trail?
It's the next one.
Oh, the
I think
next
it's the next slide. These are just some just locations that show the actual terrain itself.
Okay.
So I think it's 3. Yep, you can keep going. That's it there.
Oh, okay.
So this is as it's laid out. I did a site walk with myself, with the gentlemen that are with me tonight that did a lot of the layout. I have over 35 years of building trails in New England. So they've asked me for my expertise. We did some minor changes and realignments and during my site walk. Didn't really, I mean, there's no vernal pools in that area. It's a steep grade. So drainage doesn't appear to be any issue, and we would see, if there was poor drainage in that area, we would see it today. And as we walk out there, even in the last couple of weeks, there are no drainage issues in that area.
David, this is along Route 4, right? Or am I turned around?
Route 4 would be on the left.
Yeah. So it's, on that side of the parcel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and then the green goes all the way to the top to what's referred to as Old Sullivan Road, and actually right on the Billerica border.
Well, thank you for the overview. I just wanted to preliminarily say that the commission really appreciates working with you folks over the years.
We do too. We
been a great-
deal with multiple agencies on the state level as well as the town level. And I know going back, I think we might be almost 20 years in since we were in there cutting cars into chunks and towing them out. That it has been, a pleasure working with the Conservation Commission, going back many years.
Yeah, we value that. It's really been great, and we appreciate it, and it's an asset to the whole community. And the reputation of what you folks have done out there is very widespread, so we appreciate that, just for the record. But let's see if the commission's got some questions. Peter, why don't you lead us off, if that's okay?
Yeah, sure. I want to echo Chris's comment. I walk those trails frequently, and they're excellent for walking as well as the bikes, you guys. Just the way you laid them out and whatnot. Feel like I'm further north than I really am when I'm walking on some of those trails. So appreciate that. I guess I don't have any questions, Chris. I just wanted to point out this is part of the one of the most important watersheds in the town in a recent state analysis of land that's important over the next 50 years, the whole River Meadow Brook. But I don't see that has a big impact, and my personal view is it's not that far from Route 4, so you already have some noise affecting habitat. And I do appreciate the safety aspect. That makes a lot of sense. So I don't really have any comments
Okay.
beyond that.
Well,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Peter. Thank you. Ally?
Do we know, and obviously I haven't walked through there because it's not trails depicted in where this new one would, proposed one
It
would
is
be.
flagged. We did
Okay,
flag it.
so my question is, do we know anything about vernal pools or any water settling in that area? That this would
Maybe we'll
affect?
just turn to David, our agent. David, any knowledge there?
I mean, there are, I'm sure there are no vernal pools on that hillside. Yeah, it looks, there's clearly a wetland there to the left. So, and that brings to my mind a question. So what is the actual work involved in creating this trail? Are you gonna have to take down trees?
No. No standing trees. I believe there are some fell trees that we would have to remove.
Okay,
But
and.
yeah, we the way the trail is laid out, our goal is to avoid trees, but that includes their root base. So
Okay.
while we're mapping out turns, we're trying to stay away from all that because we know what the trail will, you're gonna get soil compression. You have a trail that's full of roots, it's not pleasurable for any user.
What about, any sort of, regrading, surface regrading? You have to do any digging or anything like that?
Typically, the way that all of those trails were built at the parcel is you remove the duff part of the soil and get to the actual, like the real soil. And other than that, we just leave it. And it does its own thing just due to use.
Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Thanks,
No,
David.
no, thank
Thank you, Ally. Anything more?
And then the only other question I had in terms of what he just said, obviously there's natural compaction over time, but we're not like building berms or any crazy stuff like that or anything, no?
Nope, it's just more in line with what's there. Obviously, we do some manipulation on the trail, and it's all about shedding water and not having standing water on the trail. So there are some grading that goes along with that. So that's pretty much the manipulation that you see in the whole place. And hopefully it's good enough where you don't really even recognize it.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ally. Mark?
That was my concerns when, I think Peter brought it up too, was recognizing any cuts and fills you're gonna do on the trails. But you were saying it's minimal, you're not taking any materials out, you're just cleaning up the pine.
Yeah, we
Pine straw?
just take the duff off is pretty much all we're doing. And
I
then
mean, the trails there are like this wide, or at least the
Yeah,
curvy ones in the woods. Some of the other ones are bigger.
the
but-
green trail next to it's 8 feet wide. And I think it's one of the original car roads that was part of the parcel years and years and years ago. So our goal as our user, we like to keep the trail 20 inches wide. That's it. And we kind of, force it into that space, 20 to 22 inches.
So you're not gonna do any berms like Ally was saying, I know this is about speed, getting on a track at certain times, is that correct?
Well, the trail this way would reduce speed because the trail you see that's red would be of slower nature than the green trail.
No, I understand that, but your track, you're not gonna improve it to make it a faster track.
Right now,
Okay,
no.
all right. That's it.
Hey, thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill?
Yeah, I want to echo what these guys said. You guys have been a great partner with us as far as taking care of that site and looking out for problems as they came up. And I don't have a problem with the trail. Does anybody want to see it? Should we take a site walk, or is that not necessary? You've been out there, Peter, all the time, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we put this in a permit, but my assumption is it'll be like the other ones, 20 inches wide roughly. Not berms, but where there's a curve, and because of the bikes sometimes make a little bit of a rut, and maybe you do slope it a little bit, but you're not building a.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know if you want to put that in the permit, a 20-inch wide trail, but that, to me, is, eliminates a lot of the questions, doesn't it, Mark? You're not going to be excavating big.
Yeah, I'm not trying to micromanage it either.
Maybe, Barry, you could just send me an email, basically restating some of these details. It's going to be 20-inch wide, only going to take off of the top of the ground, what layer did you call it?
Duff.
The duff layer.
Yeah.
Just take that off, no cutting or filling, anything like that. It would be good to have, again, for the record, it would be good to have those on in an email.
All right, and if anyone wants to do a site walk, we can do that as well. Like I said, it's flagged. It's pretty basic. It's pretty short compared to all the other stuff we've built there.
I feel like if you build this like you built the rest of them, they're fine, right? Looks good.
Let's have a vote then. So we want to make a motion then?
I move that we approve of the plan as offered. at the meeting tonight
And we'll have that
With-
follow-up email.
with a follow-up email indicating a couple of details, primarily the 20-inch width and limited excavation and no tree removal. Is that all right?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Second, so, motion by Peter, second by Bill. Any discussion before we vote? No discussion, all those in favor, aye. Any opposed, none unanimous. We're all set.
Thank you.
That's the audience.
Appreciate your
Oh,
support.
Enjoy.
well,
As
no,
always.
Enjoy and be
Oh,
safe.
that's right. That's right, sorry. Mr. Chairman.
fine point
I know,
of, Robert's rules.
right.
Good night now, thanks again. All right, so the next item we have under the open session citizen concerns is a meeting of the Sue as Co-Climate Collaborative coming up on March 25th. Peter, you want to tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, it's a public meeting that I was asked to advertise in Concord. And the idea is to collect ideas from the public on how this climate initiative that I mentioned a couple weeks ago, what results might help our towns. And I know I'm being a little vague, and you'd have to read a whole bunch of stuff to figure it out, but I at least wanted to mention there's an opportunity for Chelmsford residents to go to a public meeting. And I think the simplest thing is anyone send me a quick email, and I'll get you connected with the people running that meeting.
Are you planning to go?
I'm undecided, actually. Yeah. I'm on the steering committee, and we've had a chance to offer Chelmsford's perspective on this thing in the past. And that's, what? That's tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow is the 25th,
Yeah, so at least wanted to mention it.
although it's kind of interesting, it says Friday, March,
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be Wednesday. Yeah.
but tomorrow is Wednesday, the 25th, so maybe we can just get clarification on that.
Yeah, well, how about this? Anyone that's interested, send me an email.
Peter, reach out to Peter then. Good. Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Peter,
thanks.
for the information on that. And then next item we have on the agenda, again, is an update on the front yard tree planting program, which includes a number of sites near wetlands. Peter, what's going on there, too?
I'm sorry, I got distracted.
It's okay.
Which topic was
This
that?
is the one
Chris?
about the front yard tree planting
Yeah.
program.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that the tree committee working with our tree warden, and I think Courtney's here, you're working on the front yard program.
I've done a little bit, yeah.
And you've probably done more work than I have, so maybe you should tell us. But long story short, a previous citizens committee looking at climate stuff, working with Evan Belansky, came up with grant money to plant additional trees, and it was decided to do what's called a front yard tree planting program. This was advertised in a number of venues, and it's basically free trees for 50 or 60 residents that applied. So we did get a pretty good turnout, lots of applications. Tree committee and DPW went around and looked at a lot of the proposed locations, and it'll happen.
Great.
The reason I wanted to mention it at Concom is a lot of the trees are being planted in our watersheds very close to conservation land. So this is not a Concom initiative per se, but it certainly supports our mission of natural resource protection. So
So this is tree planting on private property.
it is, within 20 feet of a right-of-way. So that's right.
And do we, what type of trees?
Well, we have a list of 12, and we broke it up with 6 short ones, things like service berries and dogwoods, for yards that, for example, under a power line.
Yeah.
And then 6 big ones like tulip trees and others for big, tall shade trees.
Okay. Is it
We-
too late for homeowners to get into the program, or is it?
I think that it's pretty close to full
Yeah.
right now, unless, I haven't been doing the site walks, unless some locations don't work out, but I think that we're hopeful
Yeah,
for
I-
future years.
Future years, good.
This is not a one and done.
Oh, good, so future years too.
Yeah, the DPW's planting the trees, but then the homeowners would be responsible for watering.
Is that list of homeowners public?
I'm not sure.
Not yet.
Yeah, I
Okay.
worked more on the getting filling the material out, the little graphics and stuff. I haven't really been involved in receiving the application.
Well, it'd be nice to have it if it's public, you know.
Yeah, we can work on that,
Okay.
and figure that out.
Just would be good to know,
Yeah,
you know, the properties that are participating.
yeah.
Yeah? Good. All right, well, thanks,
Okay.
Peter. Courtney.
Thanks.
That's great. All right, so now we have, I think we had at least one person from the commission go out to the MACC Annual Spring Workshop, workshop out there in Holy Cross.
Yes.
So Ally, what happened out there?
Yeah, I went to certain workshops for that. I attended the vernal pools, replacing a culvert or a bridge, and I also went to the Massachusetts Environmental Policy Act update class, as well as the flood resilience through integrated local permitting. I know that's kind of been important, so I'll probably briefly touch on that anyhow. But basically, some key points from the flood resilience class was that it's dependent on coordinated local permitting. Floodplain development includes any man-made changes to include fill, grading, storage, and paving. FEMA requires permits for all floodplain development. Multiple authorities regulate floodplain work to include, obviously, us, Conservation Commission, Building Department, Planning, Zoning, DPW, Board of Health. The Wetlands Protection Act regulates the floodplain performance standards. Local floodplain bylaws apply to all NFIP communities. Any non-structural activities such as grading, paving, storage still require review. Compensatory storage required when flood storage is lost. And projects not needing a building permit may need floodplain approval. And public outreach was one of the things that they tried to hit home, that public outreach is essential for residents to understand floodplain rules. I know that's kind of been an important thing that we've been talking about.
So just a question, Ally?
Sure.
So did you say FEMA has to approve all development in the floodplain? Is that new?
That's one of the notes I took. FEMA NFIP requiring permits for all floodplain development. I will say that was just a point in the slide that they didn't really,
I've never heard that ever before, so
Yeah.
I don't know if that's new. I've never known a project in the floodplain to have to be approved by FEMA.
Sure, yeah,
I mean,
no
that
one
must be a
asked
heck of a lot of
any-
bureaucracy. If that's
Yeah,
true.
no one had asked any follow-up on that, because I thought the same thing, but I'm wondering if that's more of a larger project, like,
Yeah.
like an Amazon warehouse or something crazy like
Yeah,
that,
like rather than an
Yeah,
addition
than
or
like-
something
yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they did release all the slide decks for all the classes, if anyone's interested or missed anything. But it was
I'd be
good.
interested in that slide deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right on their website from MACC, or I can send you a link or whatever you guys want, but it was interesting.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent, yeah, good, good. All right, excellent. All right, back to the agenda. Now we have our report from our planning board liaison, Chris.
Good evening, Chris LaValle, Chair of the Planning Board. So our meeting this week, we're focusing on a lot of zoning cleanup again, regulation cleanup, preparing for the next town meeting. We are starting to talk about changes to the payment in lieu of for affordable housing. We are talking about some changes to our procedures to special permits and site plans to align it more with the state regulations. We are discussing the at-home in Greater Lowell NEMCOG report to identify what strategy Chelmsford would prioritize and what support is needed for that. That is focused on housing needs in the Greater Lowell area. And then the other thing we're going to be talking about is a readout from the Citizens Planning Conference, similar to the one Ally went to for zoning. That was this past Saturday. Deirdre and I both went to that. And then we are also talking about, I Actually, not this meeting, but in our May meetings, we'll be talking about the River Neck area for zoning. One thing I did want to point out in April, our only meeting in April is on the 7th, because it'll be staggered with yours, and we've got town meeting on the week that we would have our second planning board meeting. That's it.
Thanks, Chris. Any questions for Chris? Comments?
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Chris. All right, well, that takes us through our open session citizen concerns. Unless there's some citizen concerns that were not on the agenda, just come forward right now, give us your name and address. If we have none, that's good. So moving into our regulatory hearings. The first one we have up tonight is a request for determination of applicability filed by the town of Chelmsford in multiple locations. And Courtney Thompson from the town of Chelmsford, DPW, is here representing the applicant town of Chelmsford. We should have a legal notice, I would presume, so legal notice is up. And now our vice chairman will officially read the legal notice into the record.
So can you see that?
Yes, yes. Okay, legal notice. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL 131, Section 40, and the Chelmsford Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 187, the Chelmsford Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing in room 204 at the Chelmsford Town Offices, 50 Billrica Road, on Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 at 7 p.m. to consider the request for determination of applicability filed by property owner, Town of Chelmsford, for proposed work within inland bank, riverfront area, 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands and inland bank at the following locations. And I'm just going to read the streets. Tuttle Road, Acton Road, High Street, Horseshoe Road, Sandra Drive, Deep Brook, from Dunstable to Swains Pond, and west of Burning Tree Lane and Shore Drive. The project entails replacement of culverts. All corrugated metal pipe culverts will be replaced with PVC. Also includes replacement or repair of head walls, removal of accumulated junk, trash, or debris, and vegetation overgrowth, blocking stream channels and drainage areas. Also, biannual, spring and fall, exercise of the Freeman Lake Emergency Relief Valve. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Peter, thank you. And now Courtney?
Hi, hello. My name's Courtney Thompson. I'm the stormwater engineer for the town of Chelmsford. I'm here with an RDA, as Peter summarized, for 7 routine stormwater maintenance projects, as well as the biannual exercising of the Freeman Lake Emergency Valve. These maintenance locations were originally part of a longer RDA list of projects that was approved in an RDA from 2023. That RDA is set to expire, I believe, next month, and the DPW just needs additional time with these 7 locations, and then the biannual exercising of the valve is just ongoing. So the scope of work for each of the locations has not changed since the 2023 RDA, but I'm happy to answer any questions that might come up now.
Great, thanks, Courtney. Let's turn to Bill. Bill, any questions?
Are you upsizing any of the culverts?
No, there's 2 culverts that are being replaced on this list. They're both corrugated metal pipe, so they're starting to deteriorate inside, so they'll just be replaced with the PVC.
There's no need to upsize them.
No, I don't
No.
think that's, they're not big box culverts or anything. One is a 24, is a 2-foot, just culvert pipe underneath the road. The other one is, maybe it's just one. Am I missing one? Oh no, the other one is a 12-inch corrugated metal pipe that's just gonna be replaced with
That's all I
that
needed.
PVC.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank
All
you.
right, moving on. Mark?
Do you see any places where you're gonna have machines in the,
No, the machines will be on the road. All this is really adjacent to the road. The one exception is we do have an area of stream maintenance that we're just looking to remove some non-native accumulated material, but we won't have machinery down in there.
Is
If we
that,
use-
is that current, is that on the screen right now, the deep
Yeah.
brook?
And I believe we've started, I think we've done little sections of it, but it is a large area. The machinery that may be used would be the vac truck, and it would be parked on the road again, too. And the suction hose would come out, and then basically the crew hand shovels into that hose. It's not like a big, huge disruptive thing. And that would be done during dry weather. There won't be any machinery off the right of way.
Okay, you're not doing any head walls, or?
There's head wall rehabilitation. My understanding of that is that the machines would still be on or immediately adjacent to the road, but there's 2 head wall rehabilitations, so they're just rebuilding the head walls or doing some repairs. So I don't think they'll be off the road
Okay.
doing anything
That's all.
crazy.
Good, thanks, Ally.
No, also.
Good, Peter?
Hi, Courtney.
Hi.
Yeah, so I realize we all looked at this. I had a couple quick questions.
Yeah.
On the drawings that you submitted with the RDA, most of the streams, along with the culverts, are outlined in blue. And the key says that that is the limit of, let me read it, it's just called stream assessment segment. And the question I have, which I think I know the answer, I mean, we're not talking about dredging all of those blue areas, right?
No.
We're talking about the limited, as you say, machines from the road, just in the vicinity, whatever the distance is, at the culvert, right? We're not gonna travel up and down the stream.
Right, yeah, no, we're not going up and down
Okay.
the stream. These images were from a larger culvert assessment throughout the whole town. So just the highlighted ones are the ones
Yeah.
where we're doing work. And then that one section, that was called out. I guess there's 2 kind of sections. One of them, we're cleaning the stream, the other one, we're just basically removing debris and trash and things like that.
But only within, let's say, 50 feet of the culvert?
So the culvert work that we're doing is within 50 feet of the culvert, but there are 2 locations
Well,
that
Deep Brook,
first
Deep
figure,
Brook.
yeah, that we are going down the stream, but again, that's not with machinery. That would just be with shovels and the end of the hose of the back
So
truck.
what are those locations, Courtney?
So there's the Deep Brook, the figure 1 location. And like I said, I believe we've done some sections of this already. It's just not, the work is in progress. We've done sections when we've had time during dry weather. And that's just routine maintenance of removal of non-native
Okay,
accumulated material.
so it's just areas within
It's that
the
highlighted
shaded.
area.
I mean, you're only doing the stream, you're not dredging the wetlands.
Correct. We're
right?
just doing the stream and we're just taking down, or just removing some of that accumulated silt that has come from our storm drain systems, because there's a lot of outfalls in that area. Just the non-native accumulated trash, debris, siltation.
And that's by hand.
And that's by hand with the back truck. But again, that'll be like, it's like they're shoveling into the hose. It just is to save them.
But the vac truck has
The
to
vac
stay
truck's
on the
parked on the
road.
pavement, yeah.
So how long?
I
does
believe
the
it's a
hose go?
100-foot hose. We have a
100
good
foot.
stretch of hose.
Okay, so you can't go any more than 100 feet.
Right,
away.
yeah, about that. I think it's 100 feet. And then that second figure, figure 2, if you want to go to the next one, is the Burning Tree Lane removal of non-native debris that has accumulated in that drainage area as well. But the rest of the culvert maintenance work is just the culverts. So those are 2 areas where we're clearing out the streams or that area, but we're not dredging any wetlands. We're not removing any sort of.
So you see where I'm pointing here? I mean, these are streams down here, but you're not going down there, are you? That's certainly more than 100 feet away.
No, I don't think so. I think that right off the road in that area,
up
there's a
here.
lot of like trash and other
Yeah.
non-native debris that is accumulated. Yeah, so that was just kind of the area highlighted by the consultants, but we won't be going deep into the wetlands.
I don't want you to be out of order. I think is it correct? I think you're implementing recommendations made in a stormwater
Yeah,
report done by an engineer the town hired a couple of years ago.
yeah, this is all from the capital
You know,
improvement plan.
They did a townwide analysis and had some recommendations on how to, take stuff that's accumulated, out. Is
Yeah.
that fair to say?
Yeah, it's preventative measures a lot of this to try and get ahead of problems before they compound and become worse. Yeah, this is all from I believe it was Weston and Sampson's.
Right.
Yeah, it was Weston and Sampson's townwide.
Right.
It was all from the Stormwater Master Plan done by Weston and Sampson a handful of years ago. These are just a few of the key projects from the capital
I
improvement
mean, it's a
plan.
good point, Peter. I mean, this is all being done to help alleviate potential flooding situations throughout the town.
Yeah, and infrastructure failures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's gonna make things hopefully a lot better.
Yeah, it's really, when I came in 2023, I think the list was 17 or 18 items long, similar stuff. 10 of them have been completed. Some of them we're in the process of, and some of them we haven't gotten to quite yet. So it's really routine work
And
that's
so,
being done.
just a point of clarification on that. So determinations of applicability are only good for 3 years, and there's no provision for an extension. So this will be, the 3 years on this one will be up next month. So that's because it can't be extended, it had to be essentially a new RDA, which we're calling a renewal. So that's why Courtney's here.
Okay.
Just people were wondering about that.
Good.
Then,
Yeah,
Can
Peter? Yeah.
I had one other question, Courtney, if you'd humor me, please. Could you describe the removal of vegetation? You mentioned that a couple times, but other times when you're describing the vac truck, you didn't mention it. What are we doing?
Any sort of vegetation that would be removed, we're not really removing vegetation as much as non-native accumulated debris and sedimentation. But if we do come across a pipe that's really choked out with excessive overgrowth, more so than any sort of like natural overgrowth, then that would be removed by hand. I don't think that is a foreseen problem at these locations necessarily. Sometimes those can become a problem, especially if a pipe is really blocked up. It's been blocked up for years, and then there's just a slow water trickle or a wet area, and then it becomes really inhibitory growth there, and we would clear that, thin that out by hand. I don't believe these locations have that.
Yeah.
But I
What
could
about,
be.
excuse me, what about the banks? I mean, is it really just the stream channel?
It's really just the stream channel.
Not so much the banks?
Yeah, we don't really want to mess with the banks unless there's trash, things like that, we'd
Right.
clear out any sort of non-native
Okay.
debris that is
Yeah,
accumulated there.
and the reason I ask, by the way, is I did a deep dive on this whole topic in the Wetland Protection Act world, and it seems that the best guidance for all the town goals, the DPW stormwater goals for flooding and our goals for habitat, is don't strip the banks, even if it is non-natives, because then you've got some erosion problems and whatnot. I mean, it is an issue if you got non-natives, but
Yeah.
that's why I ask. Is,
Yeah, we're not stripping like invasive plants. The
Yeah.
crew doesn't really,
Yeah, you're not-
they're not really trained on
Yeah.
that necessarily. That would be like a different project. This is more like non-natural, I guess, would be like accumulated debris and material that has come from the storm drain outlets. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Peter. This is a public hearing, so if anybody from the public has any questions or comments, please come forward at the podium, and we will entertain those now. All right, I see no public input. Sir,
One
yes,
question.
Mark.
I know in the last couple of years you've had problems with flooding down at the golf course. Is this supposed to help that down there?
I don't know, I'd have to look into that specifically, but it's gonna create, allow more capacity in any areas nearby. So if it's nearby the golf course, then
Is
It
this the
won't-
golf course right here?
That is the golf
oh
course,
yeah, so, yeah, it's gonna clear up and kind of get that area functioning more as it's intended to function. So it's presumable that it could certainly help. It definitely won't hurt the golf course. It would provide more capacity in that area meant for drainage. I'm not sure if I'd have to go back and look and see if we looked into that in particular, but it's definitely providing more stormwater capacity nearby, so,
Thank you.
yeah.
All right, I think we're ready then to close the public hearing. Could I have a motion then to close the public hearing?
I move we close the hearing.
Okay,
Second?
okay. Peter on the motion to close the hearing, and Mark on the second. Any discussion? All those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, so it's unanimous on the closing of the public hearing. And then this is a request for determination of applicability. I think we're looking at what, a -2 and 3?
Yes, yes. And with the same conditions as before, I would just put in the additional condition, which I'm not sure why I didn't go in before, to say that heavy machinery is restricted to pavement.
Yeah, that's a
No
good idea.
problem.
Good idea. All right. Do we have a motion then to,
So moved.
so moved by Ally, and a second
Second?
by Peter?
Oh, second.
Okay, good. Any comments, questions, debate? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, unanimous. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Courtney. Next up in the hearings is a notice of intent filed by the town of Chelmsford for 5 Pond Street, Hart Pond. Tony Rapucci from our town of Chelmsford DPW is representing the applicant, the town of Chelmsford. Tony, you've got the floor.
Well, the hearing notice.
Oh, excuse me, not yet, not yet. We have a hearing notice, which is up on the wall. Our vice chairman will now read the hearing notice.
Thank you, David. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL 131, Section 40, and the Chelmsford Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 187, the Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing in Room 204 at the Chelmsford Town Offices, 50 Billerica Road, on Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 at 7:05 p.m. to consider notice of intent filed by property owner Town of Chelmsford for proposed work in 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands and inland bank, Hart Pond, at 5 Pond Street, further identified as Assessor's Map 124, Block 468, Lot 15. The project entails creation of an ADA access from the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail to the Hart Pond Beach and Playground by constructing ADA-compliant pedestrian curb ramps and asphalt walkways. Stormwater management infrastructure is included. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for the legal notice, and now over to Tony for an overview.
So, as identified, first, hi, everybody. Tony Rapucci, the town engineer. It was identified in the town's most recent open space master plan that open spaces such as Hart Pond were identified that the town requires ADA access improvements. ADA access from the Bruce Freeman Trail to the Hart Pond Playground were recommended as part of that scope. Working with the Community Development Director, we applied for a grant in June of 2025. That grant was given to the town in December of 2025. As part of that grant for the ADA compliance, because we're working within the buffer zones, that required the wetland notification and the NOI filing. When we were doing our due diligence on this existing site, looking at the ADA areas and where we'd want to put in the impervious area, we realized that the best idea would be to remove impervious in certain areas, so that way we could have a net negative balance. And so we end up with about 37 less square feet of impervious area if this project is approved and we move forward with construction. Most of that is at the end of Pond Street. We reached out to Chief Gary Ryan from the fire department to ask to remove that extra asphalt area that leads down to the hydrant and replace it with something that's a little bit more pervious. None of the driveways and none of the road or any access on Pond Street will be restricted. This is all the area that's before the Jersey barriers. Once we looked at that, the assistant engineer Trevor was out doing the investigation. Someone had noted that there were some drainage issues, so we had cambered the line. When we cambered the existing drain line, it's in 4 different materials, it's collapsed in some areas. So as part of this project, we thought maybe we would look to update that. When looking at the grading and redoing the ADA areas, the ADA parking is underwater most of the time after storms. So looking at the pipe that needed to be replaced, we realized that we want to do some type of drainage to correct the ADA parking if we're going to have all this new ADA access throughout the area. Unfortunately, in looking into that path, I looked through about 20 different options, BMPs through the Stormwater Handbook. Only 2 of them really stuck out to me or jumped out to me as viable options. There's an extremely high groundwater table out in this location. The site is very flat, and the separation between groundwater and the elevation of the parking area is about 4 feet. If you need 2 feet of groundwater clearance for any type of infiltration, it basically got ruled out. The only area, or the only thing that I thought about was the infiltration trenches. This doesn't require there to be any separation, but because this is a parking location, if there is any oil spill, gas spill, or something along those lines, we would never catch it. So in lieu of that, we're recommending or we're proposing 2 catch basins. These would be deep sump catch basins, 4-foot sumps. These sumps would be in the groundwater. They'd be installed on crushed stone. Then they would have the pipes coming up. Those would be above the groundwater table. There's no requirement for a minimum clearance between that pipe invert and the groundwater. So putting those 2 catch basins in, we could put in a new drain manhole on the pipe would want to replace. And then we get the water that is pooling and puddling that is being pushed towards the playground and the 88 parking location, just into the pipe, and then having minimal 25% TSS removal. It's not great, but it's the best I think we could do in this location. And then it would replace the pipe in kind, which would be a 24-inch HDPE or PVC pipe, and the elevations would not change. So I believe it should be on the plan, but I believe the invert or the outlet is 195.6. It would be the same elevation. We're just going to replace it in kind with a doghouse manhole to be installed on top of that. That would be the inverts for the catch basins to tie into it. All of that work takes place outside of the 30-foot or the 50-foot, no disturb. It is within the 100-foot buffer area. On the plan itself, we are having a HMA walkway bringing us down to the playground. We've also been looking at what's called a Moby mat. These are these blue mats you see on beaches that allow wheelchair access and folks to get down toward water. So we're going to look to install the HMA ramp short of any floodplain elevation. I had the FEMA flood maps. To me, it looks like around 199.5. This would be in our contract to be confirmed by the contractor and not to go beneath or below that elevation with our HMA asphalt. And the Moby mat is a 16-foot, would be extended. If we think we need more, would end up looking to purchase a second one just to get someone down to the water. Those are removable though, so those would not be there during the winter or the spring. It'd only get placed out for the summer and then get picked up in the fall, stored at DPW. I think that's everything. If anyone's got any other questions or something, let me know.
Good, yeah, great overview. Good. Jumping over to Mr. Coombs. Anything, Dave, you want to add?
So I had a couple of questions. So you answered the first one, Tony, why you can't do any subsurface, infiltration drainage here because the groundwater's too high, which makes perfect sense. I mean, you've got Hart Pond right there. So the pipe, the drainage pipe right now currently drains what?
So behind, there's that culvert that goes under the Bruce Freeman Trail,
Yeah.
and I believe there's a pocketed wetland location that's in there that collects behind the gas station just with runoff, and then it makes its way into the pond.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's this pipe essentially drains into Hart Pond. So you're going to be adding more runoff into it from the 2 catch basins.
There would be a minimal amount would be added to it. The catch basins with the 4-foot sump, and in those 2 locations, we're not looking to collect the entire parking lot. It's really just the area behind the high point, which locating here on the map is roughly around where this pavement area is. There's like a break. And so you'd have some water that runs down and then curls and collects in these 2 spots. But the remaining of the parking lot that drains out into the back is still going to drain out into the back. It's really looking to try to get the drainage out of the ADA area. And then this location that's just adjacent to the playground, a lot of mosquitoes and things kind of nest in that location. So I think it'd just be an overall better experience for anyone that goes.
So I guess the bottom line question is, so is the additional drainage that's going into the pipe and then into Hart Pond, is that going to have is that going to lower the water quality? I mean, is going to be lower water quality that's going into the lake with this drainage?
So the way it functions now is it just puddles until it slowly infiltrates into the ground. So there isn't any separation or there's no media material or anything that would take out any type of TSS.
You're talking about in the parking lot?
In the parking lot. And by having the 2...
But that's not currently going into this.
It's not going into the pipe, but just you said about the watershed area itself.
Okay.
And so that is going into the groundwater, which is clearly making its way to Hart Pond.
Okay.
And so just removing 25% of the TSS removal. And if there is a leak or oil or spill or something that makes it to the catch basin through our general maintenance, and we'll have one of the hoods in there, we at least could prevent that and then report it and then would have Courtney and go through and would have it cleaned up appropriately. So there would be some improvement to it. But as far as adding flow to that location, the 24-inch pipe has never had an issue with the overall flow that's going through the pipe. It's just as we were doing the camera investigating, realized that it seems to have been repaired multiple times in years past. And I don't like seeing square pipes when they should be circular, so we'd want to replace that while we were over here getting construction done.
That certainly makes sense. So I mean, in your professional opinion, there's no significant degradation in the quality of runoff going into Freeman Lake or a Hart Pond?
No,
That's-
no, I think the catch basins would just add it's a small improvement for those two locations. Again, it's not great, it's not perfect, it's not the best solution that could ever exist, but it is something that we could fit into this location, and it's a small improvement.
Okay. And just one other question that's really outside the scope of the Conservation Commission, but we do have a member of the Land Trust Board here tonight, and because they hold a CR on this property, they will have to grant approval. Has the trust done that yet?
Yes, they have.
Okay. So I have no more questions.
Great, thanks, David. Thank you for some good points. Jumping down the end here to Bill. Bill, comments, questions?
I like the plan, I think it looks good. Where the pipe goes out into the pond, how's that finished off at the end?
So right now it's an open-ended pipe that just has a couple of some like crushed stone that's there, and we'll just replace it in kind.
Yeah, rip wrap at the end of the pipe?
Yep.
Okay. No, I think the plan's good. I mean, there's not much you can do there. The water table's too high.
It's very low, very flat elevation with a high groundwater table.
But it'll help somewhat with the problem with the big puddle.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, thanks, Bill. Yeah, Mark?
That pipe that's going from the 24-inch, the plastic pipe, what's the coverage going to be on that in the parking lot?
So the lowest cover is about 2 feet. For the HDPE pipe, it's recommended 2 feet, and we get that right as it's getting, I'll point to the location. The lowest cover is right in this location. You have the berm coming off of the Bruce Freeman Trail, and this is the lowest location in the parking lot. It's about 2 feet, recommended for the HDPE.
Okay, you don't have to cover that with concrete or anything to reinforce it?
Nope.
No?
No, just have a 2-foot minimum coverage.
Okay.
That's the advantage of a pipe material versus something that's infiltrating, is you don't need to have extra material on top of it, just the minimum for 2 feet.
Okay, all right. No, it looks fine. You did a lot of work here, and hopefully it's gonna be an advantage to what it was before. I'm good.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Ally.
All set, thank you.
Good, Peter?
Tony, question. The existing pipe and the proposed new pipe originates in the wetlands that you mentioned. I guess, was that behind the gas station?
Hmm?
Why is that wetland being drained into Freeman Lake via a pipe? What's the logic for that?
There's a granite culvert that's under the Bruce Freeman Trail. I would assume that when that Bruce Freeman Trail was installed, that water is making its way, so they installed that granite culvert. It's miscellaneous pieces that's just getting the water underneath that then converges into that pipe. That pipe is buried underneath the berm in a manhole.
Historical history. That's the answer.
But that honestly is a really good question, Peter.
Well, it's very pertinent because
Yeah.
my other concern, I would recommend, have you thought about talking to the Board of Health? This beach closes periodically because of E. coli pollution. And sometimes, I believe, that can come from dog poop. So if we're making a direct pathway for dog poop in this area into the beach, would the Board of Health have a question about whether that would increase beach closing? Because that's kind of what happens with dog poop, duck poop.
So by making it ADA accessible would increase dog poop? Is that the question?
No, by
Okay.
putting the direct discharge. So in other words, right now, stuff on the playground that, let's, I don't mean to be gross, let's say there's a piece of contamination on the playground of any kind, including even fine sediment, or, lawn chemicals that probably not used there. Right now, when it rains, that stuff infiltrates, I think, into the ground, and then it travels probably through the groundwater, 50, 100 feet to the lake. And groundwater is considered, or, the sand filter, that is a filtration. What we're doing now, when it rains hard, and stop me if I got this wrong, the junk on the playground is going to flow into the catch basin.
No.
No?
No,
Do I have
it's
that
only
wrong?
the area that's in the paved surface. So the
Oh.
elevation that is
Hmm.
back here behind these trees and these rocks, this area will not go into the drainage.
Oh, it's still gonna go to the
It's-
left?
Yeah, this is only gonna be collecting what's up in this location. Everything back here drains down into the back.
Oh, okay, so the Okay, got it. So it's,
But a little bit of the parking lot will be going in.
yeah, but I mean, it's less than the whole property, is the point.
But are you, I mean, so, I mean, it's a possibility that there might be, dog poop.
There will
in
be.
the parking lot.
There will be.
So,
And it will end up in the lake, but it probably does already when it rains hard.
and probably compared to how much the geese leave,
Right.
probably pretty insignificant.
Right, and the challenge here, and Tony, I'm sure you've thought about this, but when I look at the lake and contamination, right, there's all kinds of storm drains and other discharge into the lake. And so the question we cannot answer is, if this does slightly increase, of course, you're suggesting maybe it's not, the pollution in the lake, so I don't know, but it's probably tiny compared to the whole perimeter of the lake, because there's lots of stuff washes in. So my question is, if there was an incremental increase of bad stuff into the lake, that probably pales in comparison with the total volume. But it's right at a beach that ends up being closed frequently. So to me, it's kind of, we don't really have data to assess what I'm describing. So yeah, I don't mean to put you on
I'm
the
trying to think
spot.
on what the exact question is. Because if you're saying if there were dog debris or something that was either put into that location behind the gas station, there's no walking trails behind there, so that's someone releasing a dog to a location that not necessarily supposed to be. And then if you're talking about the catch basins with the hood and the sump, that would actually get caught in the catch basin, and then we would pull it out when we did the vac drain of
The
it.
solids would be caught in the catch basin.
Right.
But little bacteria in the water would go through the catch basin.
What you would have to do is you'd have to go out there right now and take an average storm and test the amount of E. coli coming out of that pipe.
Yeah, we're not gonna
Right,
do that.
Right, we're not gonna do
We're not
that.
gonna
And
do
then,
that.
and then you'd have to do an after, a post-construction test.
Autoscope.
We could certainly add signage
And-
for cleaning up after
Maybe the
waste if there
dogs.
aren't enough that are over there already. If
That's
that's
kind of-
something that
that's
may
kind of
be
where-
able to help in that location, so you
Yeah.
may have more traffic.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going, because that has come before this commission, the question of
I like
contamination.
that,
from
I like
dog
that
poop.
idea. So more signage to try to, mitigate the risk.
And we're
Yeah.
talking about the dog poop
Yeah, except,
later on tonight.
Yeah, and that happens to be coming up a little bit later, too.
except I counted 19 signs visible from that parking lot this afternoon, which kind of was driving me nuts. I'm like,
Yeah, it's a little bit much to read.
came here for a lake, not signs. Okay, no more questions. I just wanted to think that through, and I don't know if we have any obligation or the DPW to bounce this off the Board of Health, but
I can certainly reach out to
if that's
Donna
easy to
Greenwood.
do, it might be a nice courtesy.
Sure, I'll reach
just
out to her.
see if they have any concerns, because I'm sure their goal is to keep the beach open, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just one more question, Tony. So I assume DPW is gonna be hiring a contractor to do this?
It would go out to bid, yeah,
Okay.
procured.
Okay.
Okay, good, good. All right, well, this is a public hearing, so again, anybody from the public, if you have any questions or comments, just step forward, give us your name and address, and we'll be happy to hear those comments. All right, no public comments here. Anything else from the commissioners? Mark?
When did you plan on doing this?
So unfortunately, it has to be done by June 30th of 2026. So once we get the approval of the NOI, I'm working on the procurement documentation now to go out to bid, to tie those together, so we could have a bid opening hopefully by mid to late April, construction in middle of May till June 30th. I don't think it'll take 6 weeks, just that would be the anticipated timeline.
It's still pretty tight.
It is tight,
It's a very good project, though, for the town,
yeah,
you
tight. Good. Anything else from commission before we have a motion to close the public hearing? All right, good. Do we have a motion to close?
I move we close the hearing?
All right, Peter on the motion to close the hearing, and seconded by?
Second.
Ally on the second. All those in favor to
Aye.
close? Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. All right, so we close the public hearing now, and this, in front of us is the notice of intent, all right? So we'd be looking at, an order of conditions, and typically we want to see, we've got our standard conditions. Any special conditions, David, you might
I think
suggest?
standard.
Standard?
It's a pretty simple and straightforward job,
Okay.
at the end of the day, so saying just a standard order.
All right, well then, let's have a motion then for a standard order of conditions.
Yeah, I move we approve the NOI with a standard order of conditions.
All right? Motion by
Second.
Peter, second by Bill. Any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor, aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? None? Unanimous. Thanks, Tony.
Right, thank you.
Thanks for all your work, Tony.
You have a good one.
Appreciate it.
All right, and then that takes us down to the last item under our regulatory hearings, and that was the notice of intent that had been continued from New England Power Company with respect to 100 Ecuador Road. David, I think we were looking at a continuance request on this?
Yeah, so we only just got the response to our peer reviewers' initial comments back from the applicant's engineer at the end of last week. I forwarded them immediately to the commission's peer reviewer to respond to the responses. And I just got those back today. I haven't had a chance to review them at all. So, I suggested, well, I mean, I really said to the applicant, this really has to be continued to November or April 14th, and they agreed.
April 14th. Okay. All right, so we'll have a continuance then without testimony tonight, if we could have a motion to that effect.
We have make a motion to continue it to our next meeting, April 14th.
Motion by Ally, seconded by
Peter?
Peter. Any
Is there-
discussion?
I do have a
Sir.
procedural question, and tell me if this is going too far off the reservation. Procedurally, is our goal, I mean, we want the peer reviewer and the applicant to sort of reach agreement and advise us the thing complies with the stormwater standards. Is that kind of that's where we're going, right?
Yes.
They don't have to
That-
agree, but they can identify the
That's-
disagreements, which they already
yes,
did
right.
once. Yeah.
That's,
Okay.
yes, that, in theory, that's
Okay.
correct. So,
Good.
we'll see how it pans out.
I'm good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Unanimous. Continue. All right, so that takes us through our regulatory hearings for this evening. Now we move on to our discussion phase. We have some continual business, and I think we can jump to land management now, and we can do our conservation site update from the commissioners. I'll just jump in and say I was out today at Crooked Spring Reservation in North Chelmsford, and actually the trails were looking really good out there. Really good. I was really pleasantly surprised. It looks to me like volunteers have been out there doing some cleanup, because I expected to see a lot of trash and a lot of stuff out there, and it was looking really good. It was, the pond itself was high. There was a lot of water going over the dam on the pond. I saw a blue heron out there flying around. It was really pretty beautiful, and some ducks and stuff. So it was, it was looking good, Crooked Spring. So anyway, Bill, you want to give us some your update?
Oak Hill, they put the traps in for the beaver at the dam. I actually ran into the guy up there one day when he was checking the traps. He thought he had a beaver. He's got a camera, trail cam, and he saw a beaver and a skunk there. But when he pulled the trap out, it wasn't there. So I don't know if since then if he's caught the beavers or not. But he had pulled some of the sticks off the dam the day before, and it was all put back together the next morning. So they work pretty fast. But other than that, I don't know if they've done the testing on the old dump yet or not.
No, they haven't started that yet, but I think just to go back a little bit. So the day after the last hearing, when Christine was here about 40 Swain Road, I got a request to sign off on an application for a beaver permit. In that location. So,
We were just saying things have been quiet.
you're right,
you know?
yes.
Right.
So, it's not the Conservation Commission's land. We brought up the concern, and so I wasn't about to, argue with DPW or say, let's look at whether we can put in a beaver deceiver. I just signed off on it. So I think that was the right.
I think they were worried about erosion from the
Yeah,
dump,
yeah,
from that
yeah,
water
yeah.
backing up.
And that was all legitimate. We brought that up at the hearing, so,
Yeah.
but they didn't waste any time.
No, so that's,
If I could just add, the groundwater issues we discussed at an old landfill is a big deal. If you're concerned about any legacy contamination, it just changes the patterns, and without a big analysis of the wells and whatnot, you don't really know what's happening, so I can understand the logic in just
Yeah.
eliminating that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, because that water's backing up quite a bit.
Yeah, it could be, you know, who knows what's really in the landfill. I mean,
Right. So that's all for Oak Hill. At Coolis, town's been doing a lot of work still at Coolis, taking rocks out, burying rocks. I was up to Quarry today. The granite sign will be done next week. I've spoken to Joe Erickson at the DPW. He's gonna help install it, either next week or the following week. Just need a good day to do it. At Sunny Meadow, they were taking apart a handicap ramp over there. So, John Ray, the Friends of Coolis, at Coolis, there's a walkway across the area that gets wet sometimes, and they wanted to replace what's there, so they're gonna take a section of that handicap ramp from Sunny Meadow. They brought it over to Coolis, and tomorrow morning, they're gonna take a look and see how are they gonna get it up the trail to where it's gonna go. And they're gonna rebuild it. So there's good stringers on the handicap ramp, so they're gonna use that and whatever else they can use, so. They're working on that, a lot of stuff going on there.
Haven't heard any more about the fence.
The fence,
The fence and the guardrail.
Yeah, it's kind of the last thing that we want to get done, because they're gonna bring trucks in with loom. After they're done with the rocks, they're gonna loom that field and seed it, and they want to do that in April.
Oh, okay.
So I talked to Joe about that. He says he wants to just wait till that big work's done before we put the guardrail and kind of get that area.
Well, that's good to know, because if RD Fence contacts me and said, you know, we're ready to
Yeah.
do the fence now, tell them
Yeah.
that they need to hold off
What I'll
until-
do, I'll talk to Joe Erickson, and I'll get back to you as far as what their timeline. I know the DPW is getting real busy now with other
Yeah.
projects in town. So where they had some time to do work at Coolest in the winter, that's gonna go away soon.
Yeah.
So they were up there the other day with a grappling truck and a tractor, and they moved all the piles of invasives that the volunteers removed from different areas. They made a pile, and they're gonna burn that shortly too. So once they burn that, they bring the loom in, seed it, then we'll get the guardrail up and that. So I'll give you an update after I talk to Joe and get his kind of
Okay.
sense of his timing.
Okay, great.
But other than that, the volunteers are up there almost every weekend, pulling evasives out and doing work. One of the, John Ray, I forget what town he went to, but he got some vernal pool literature and nice signs, and he put one of them up on the kiosk so people can look at it, and explains the vernal pool, what's in the vernal pool.
And we're right in that season right
Yeah,
now.
Right,
so.
right. So, yeah, a lot of things going on out there, a lot of help from people, a lot of help from the town, so.
Thanks,
That's
Bill.
it,
Thanks,
yeah.
Bill. Good, good. Mark, anything?
Nothing new really out at Red Wing. I didn't go by there today. Usually I like to come by in the morning before I come to a meeting, but I'll make it tomorrow.
All right. Good. Ally?
Nothing new. Picked up some trash over there, but that's about it.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah, Peter?
Nothing specific on Thanksgiving Forest. John's not here. I took a stroll through Russell Mill Forest 4 days ago and didn't see anything astray. And there's 7 wood duck houses along that stretch of River Meadow Brook, and at least one of them has a customer as of today.
Okay.
So we'll look forward to Jeff's report on the ones that are
And it's the right species.
wood duck,
Okay.
Right species. Good.
right species of wood duck. So hopefully that'll have some benefit.
Good.
And one more thing, Chris.
Yeah, Bill.
One more thing I forgot to mention on Coolest. I've mentioned before, we're doing a handicap walkway, and that's part of the plan to get that, the engineering's being done on that, to get some of that installed before we put the guardrail up. And so it's all a puzzle, putting pieces together.
Okay.
Now, I know the town has just purchased, or in the process of purchasing it's like a wheelchair for
Yes.
trails.
Yes.
And we want to keep that in mind as far as our areas, that we start looking towards incorporating some handicap trails, and so that this wheelchair is going to be on loan from the library. So you take it out like you take a book out. And it's got.
How long can you take it out
3
for?
wheels. I'm not sure if it's all doped out yet or not. But the wheelchair has two arms, you manipulate like this, and there's one wheel out front, and so we have to keep in mind on our properties that we start looking towards doing these handicap access areas,
As I
like we're doing at
understand it,
Coolers.
I mean, this wheelchair, this device is actually supposed to be pretty much all-terrain. You don't really need special accessibility like we usually think of it for handicapped access.
Upper body strength, I think, is.
Yeah,
thing.
but it's really meant to be able to go into places where you don't normally think of.
Yeah.
Comment.
Dave has a comment, please.
Comment, Dave.
Dave Sperry, 12 Longview Drive, Chelmsford Land Conservation Trust. We're getting involved with the grit chair from the library. It'll be one of the library of things that you can check out for multiple days. It follows some other towns' programs. Initially, we're going to set up a training area over in Bartlett Park. So you can check it out at the library, take it over to Bartlett Park, try the various hills. We'll mark things about what the grades of the slopes are so people can get a feel of it, how to stop, how to turn. And then we're going to try to come up with some kind of rating system based on Bartlett Park and Bartlett Woodlot, and then be able to transfer that to the other trails in town. So if this is a green trail, you know you can go so far. Blue, it's a little tougher. And have to
Black Diamond, Dave.
somewhere.
Black Diamond.
Yes. But the chair needs a little more room than ADA specs for doing some turns. It's a little wider. It's built out of mountain bike parts. And it's also got a cantilevered caster wheel up front that may not take cross slope very well. So that's why we're going to have the testing out and the training and workout track right there at the library in Bartlett Park. So just to keep you up to date on that.
So if I get calls inquiring about the grit chair, I can refer them to you
Refer them to the library.
from the library?
Yeah.
But it sounds like you know a lot about how it operates. I guess you'll know more after it's tested.
Right, it was, the purchase order for it went out last week. So, be probably a few weeks before it's in. And then we'll have playtime out there.
Okay.
Library and a few other people that want to come
Is
along.
that going to be a public event?
Probably the first one won't be because we'll be doing really stupid stuff.
Okay,
But eventually, yes, there will be a public event.
okay.
What are the logistics gonna be to rent it? How do you,
The library already has a, well, area they call Library of Things, where you can rent tool or borrow tools, extension cords, saws, and they're gonna house it there.
But I think it's up to the user. They'll have to provide their own transportation. They'll have to be responsible for actually,
Correct.
putting
oh,
it
all
on.
right, so you don't get a trailer to bring it to you?
No, it's a mountain bike that's designed to be taken apart and put in a car.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is, yeah, a helper can come along and assemble it at the library so they know how it goes together, then
Yeah.
disassemble it, put it in the car, drive to wherever they want to go, get out, put it together, and take off.
Okay.
So,
Thanks.
be a good experiment. It can also go in the water.
Really?
So the other idea is people can borrow it for taking out to Hart Pond, go down the ADA ramp and into the water with it.
Oh,
Happens if it gets stuck.
So,
That's their
but
problem.
it's gonna take,
Well, it's the library's problem.
it will take hand strength. They are getting the option to put assistant handlebars in the back for somebody to help push along. But there'll probably be lots of events where we try to take it various places, even Thanksgiving Forest, to see if you can make that
all right.
hill up.
Well, we look forward to having further updates on this.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah.
Very interesting. Thanks, Dave. Okay, all right. So let's see, we've gone through, Peter.
And,
trail-
yeah,
more
just,
trail stuff?
Dave, do you want to make any comment? Warren Pohl has been, well, I've reached out to Steve Mayotte, our steward, and we're chatting. More to come there. And David, did you want to mention anything about the various Warren Pohl
I'll just give an update on the latest. So commission members, I think recall a few meetings ago, the commission approved a live staking plan for Oxbow to develop one. I forget, did he actually present it or not?
We all
I
looked
don't.
at it,
So I forwarded that to the trust for their comment. They were a little bit concerned about impacts to the view and reminded me that the CR does require that the town maintain the meadow. I think they're all, perfectly legitimate concerns. So we had a meeting here. Peter was there. I think there were four members of the trust were there. So we talked about possible approaches. What decided was that we would look into, the town would hire a landscape architect to come up with a plan that create a natural design for the placement of the planting, so that it doesn't look like it's constructed or doesn't look like the Berlin Wall. Again, it's looks like a natural landscape. I've had an initial conversation with a landscape architect about that, and he needs to know a budget. So this is going to have to be CPA funds. And I spoke to Paul today, and he said that, the CBC is authorized up to $25,000 in expenses from, CPA funds without having to go to town meeting. So I guess that's what I'll say the budget is.
It'd be good to avoid town meeting.
Yeah. So the next step is for me to get back to the landscape architect, tell him, what our budget constraints are, and then he'll get back to me with a proposal. I think sort of the general plan is to do like 3 options for this design, sort of like the Cadillac option going down to like the bare bones. So we'll see how that goes.
Can I add a simple way to look at the meeting that we had with Dave and others in the land trust? The goal of the landscape architect was, don't muck up the view. But I think everybody agreed that it's important to do some habitat restoration stuff. Just keep the sight lines. Don't put a 40-foot tree somewhere that's gonna block, the money shot. So that's what led us to the professional landscape architect idea. The land trust team was, maybe they recommended it, but it was a good idea, everyone thought.
Excellent.
Do the right thing.
All right. Good, all right, so back to our agenda. So we've covered our Warren Poll update, and we've got, we already talked a little bit about the Oak Hill Beaver situation. Let's turn now to the complaints about the volume of dog waste being left at reservations.
Yeah.
Hearing a lot of complaints. David?
Yeah, so I'm definitely hearing them. I guess it's been a tough winter in that regard. So I guess, the sort of the 2 facets of the problem are that the dogs are just going on the trails, and, it's not even being picked up by the owners. The other facet is that, the owners are picking it up, putting it in bags, and then just leaving the bags there. I did forward you one email I got about Lime Quarry, I think it was.
Was that the one from the medical doctor?
Yeah.
And other sites too.
Yes.
It was concerning about, just health,
Yeah.
health issues, health
Yeah.
problems coming from this situation.
Yeah. I don't think it's something the commission can just ignore. It's just, clearly it's really bad, and, there are a number of concerns involved with this. It's not just aesthetic, but, there definitely are some potential health issues involved here. But it's not clear about how exactly to solve the problem. Certainly one way would be to install more cameras, more trail cams and parking lot cams, and see if you can catch people in the act and then fine them. That has a number of practical difficulties, no doubt about it. Another approach is just, have town staff, like staff at DPW, go around periodically and clean these sites up. That obviously has difficulties as well. So it's certainly a bit of a challenge, but I think it needs to be addressed. The people that have called me are just really upset about it, and understandably so. The town brags about, all the conservation land there is and how nice to use it is. I mean, this really is putting a bad name to it. So
Is it one place is worse than another, or?
well, I think I've gotten more complaints about Lime Quarry. So I actually haven't.
How about
gone
a
out.
sign that's some kind of sign? There's probably signs down there now.
There are signs on the kiosks.
You need something that's gonna catch somebody's eye.
Yeah, I don't know how much good that's going to do. So I don't know if you want to set up a subcommittee to come up with it, or
Well,
maybe I can talk to town officials about it and see if they have any suggestions.
Well, I have something to add. So, I did a deep dive this afternoon, me and ChatGPT, and did sort of an analysis of how we're approaching it in Chelmsford compared to other communities in Eastern Mass. And I don't know if we need a subcommittee. I could dig this out and send it to everybody. But basically, what the big brain in the sky said was, our program is typical of other communities, and it is a problem. And so the difference between what we're doing and what some of the more stringent communities are exactly what David mentioned, is more public outreach and education. Secondly is enforcement. And, whether it's the animal control officer or, cameras but without those things, without some sort of enforcement, it's a tough nut to crack. So we could have a conversation built around kind of what other towns have done and what we might do. But it does come down, I think, to some sort of, let's use the word enforcement and education. And maybe one other quick thing, Ally, that strikes me. Ally pointed out that, Courtney Thompson and the DPW people, in fact, and maybe you could explain what that is, but the communication that I've seen from the town to date has been dog waste pollutes our water. That is not exactly what, at least the doctor that wrote into us was saying. They were talking more about direct public health impacts, like if you step in it. So I mean, so maybe the messaging in town has been more like water quality, and maybe a lot of people can ignore that, but I think we could talk to our Department of Health for some feedback, but I think, it's more than just the stuff might end up in the water when it rains. I think it's a bigger health hazard, so maybe that's the basis for some sort of outreach, education. So there's a bunch of ideas, and
I'm thinking, I don't think we need a subcommittee per se, but I just wonder, Bill, if maybe you could just meet offline with David and come up with something you can talk about with him and come back next meeting? Some concrete steps we could consider?
I'm at Coolis's every day. I walk that. I've seen it once over there with an issue like that. At Oak Hill, I've seen a few instances over there, but not, like, if you say the lime quarry, maybe we pick one spot, put some signage up, it's just my opinion, put some signage up that looks different than the usual sign that's there. Say, listen, we have some blah, blah, blah issues with this. Please be aware that, just kind of put it in people's heads, because, it's ignorant. People are ignorant. If they leave it in the trail, you're walking, you gotta be careful. In the wintertime, granted, you're not gonna, the snow is deep, it's kind of almost hard to pick it up, or for some people, but I'd start with Lime Quarry if that's the worst place at this point.
Yeah, and one thing I read that.
And Warren Pole seems to be, I've been out there too, and
Yeah.
it's a little issue over
And,
there.
and one thing I read, I think Warren Pole's okay, but we should take a fresh look. One of the lessons learned in this little analysis I did was that it's really important to make sure there's a supply of bags, some sort of sign that's really clear, not just pick up your dog poop. Supply of bags, very clear signage, and a trash can, which I know we don't generally like, but that was the elements of successful program from other people's experience, other towns.
Well, that was my question, because I know in some of the larger kind of cities, like the Medford area, out that way, they have those green receptacles. I mean, obviously, you don't want to promote the collection in certain spaces if they're not emptied, who's going to be responsible for it and all that.
Right.
But I mean, something along the lines of that, because I mean, signage, I don't disagree with, but you know, do people read how much text is on it?
Right.
All that, and then, you know, to Peter's point, I had responded to David's email with what Stormwater had done, and I think, to your point, that was more geared towards Stormwater because they got the grant, so they were the ones that put the literature together. But I mean, to kind of what everybody's saying, animal excrement is inherently dirty, right? I mean, there has to be something we can do, though.
Well,
to
maybe
your
it's,
point.
maybe, I'm saying lime quarry, I don't know.
Sure.
What if you had one of those trash containers
Some type of
and
receptacle.
the little bags that go with it?
Mhm.
Try it at one site, see if it makes a difference or not.
You know,
See if
that-
people do it. Or you may find that there's more of them in the woods where people just throw them.
Right, because again, then what do we do if it gets full? And I've seen, you know.
I think it's the
It
vice
was
chairman
hanging
was
from trees.
responsible for emptying
Yes,
those
right,
things.
The old
No, but
vice
I mean,
chairman.
I think
So
to
as long
your
as not the
point,
conservation agent.
To your point, saturation of one area, it'll certainly help to see what happens with it, and then kind of go from there.
And I think the other thing too, that, from what my reading is that we have fines in the
Well,
bylaw,
it's mass law, yeah.
and there's fines in the bylaw, but if you don't enforce that, it doesn't do any good.
Right.
So maybe the sign would say something like a reminder that there are fines, and that, I don't like this at all,
I
but
think we got those signs.
the sign, but something about camera surveillance, or, well, I'm just reading what other communities have found. They've
Right,
gone down the road we just talked about, and it
Right.
didn't work.
Right.
You do have to make it easy, everything we just talked about, but if you don't have some sort of, you know, animal control officer periodically or whatnot, but it's almost impossible, right? Because you're not gonna,
Right.
it's different than, I mean, we have a similar problem, I think, with the leashes, off-leash dogs. Well, that's sort of easy to identify if somebody wanted to play policeman, but, you know, the dog poop, I don't know.
The worst,
Say.
the people who put it in the bag and leave it are worse than the ones that don't do anything about it.
Yeah, there were about,
me.
there were about 10 of those in the first quarter mile of Thanksgiving Forest
Really?
3 days ago.
Do you think, we don't have a resolve for this, probably the next month or two? Why can't we just put up signs that say, this site is electronically monitored?
With
Yeah.
facial recognition software.
Just anything that just makes them
Vague
think.
language.
We don't expect them to, you know, everybody jump in and clean it up, but makes them think. It's a
I'll-
simple,
you know,
it's a simple
and-
thing to do.
And I'll speak to the town manager, I'll speak to Donna in health, I'll speak to Christine. Maybe they have some ideas.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Board of Health's newsletter, maybe
It's a
there should
public
be an
health issue,
article, you
really.
know.
It is, yeah, as much as anything, it is a public health
is.
issue.
It is.
That partnership, I think, would be important.
I don't have a hard number, but to date, there's about 4,300 licensed dogs in Chelmsford, and that's not including the ones that we don't know about, and then people coming and going, so.
Yeah.
Bill? you got a
I just
question?
want to ask Dave, does the land trust have a lot of problems with that on their land? Dog,
Just in Bartlett Woodlock, and it's not too bad.
no. Is it, do you have a problem with people leaving bags and all that? Or just not picking up?
Not
Yeah.
too bad, because if they're doing the loop to the rail trail, there are garbage cans on the rail trail that they can put the bags in.
Right.
Usually where there are garbage cans, there's a lot fewer bags out there.
I think that's important.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about.
Who empties the barrels on the rail trail? DBW?
I don't know.
Who empties those barrels, David?
Could be,
It could be DCR. I think DCR does that.
I'd have to look at, find, brick house pizza that, where the trash barrels are.
Lots of dog poop is heavy.
All right, well, we got some ideas. Let's follow up again next meeting.
Okay.
See if we make any progress, you know? All right. David, gap analysis?
Expecting what be the final draft very shortly from the consultant. Staff has had at least 2 meetings with him to come up with this document. So the plan has always been, or at some point, it became that when that is ready, we'll have a joint board meeting with the Commission, Planning Board, and Board of Health to give the opportunity, give the consultant an opportunity to present it, the boards to review it, ask questions. That meeting is right now scheduled for May 5th, Tuesday, May 5th at 6:30 PM. I
Okay.
guess one of these rooms, maybe this one.
Okay.
So, if you can't make it, I mean, it's not, a catastrophe. But let me know if you are planning to attend, so I can.
I'll be there.
Good.
And as soon as I get the draft document, I'll forward that to you.
Yeah, I'd like to attend that one too.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's important, and it's great kind of figuring out who plays what position and kind of who does what.
Yeah, no, I think we made a lot of progress.
Good.
I think we've got, the consultant has taken the input from us, and I think has come up with something that's pretty good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What was the date again? Dave, on that again?
What was it? Yeah, let's make a note of that again. When was
The
that?
date? May 5th at 6:30.
All right, good. Great. Thanks.
That's very exciting, actually. You think about it, it's been a couple of years, but remember
Yeah.
all the questions we had in this board a couple of years ago?
We
like
did.
Who's doing what?
Exactly.
What are we supposed to do?
And, yeah, there was a lot of potential for things to drop between the cracks. Good. All right, good. Anything else, David?
No.
All right, we have minutes here in front of us. We have our minutes from January 27th. And we've got 5 pages, and that meeting wrapped up at 8:16 PM. Tonight, we're going past that, but we had a lot on the agenda. So just take a moment and just like kick a quick look at January 27th minutes. I noticed we had a status on the large snowman that was out at Russell Mill Reservation. I'm afraid that snowman's no longer with us.
Maybe his nose left, his carrot nose.
What-
Charcoal.
Russell Mill Pond was frozen like 4 or 5 days ago.
Really?
Was, where were you, Crooked Spring, the little pond? there?
Crooked Spring was completely iced out, yeah. I was surprised. I thought it's a little bit of ice. Actually, there was a little bit of ice on one little corner of it, but,
Yeah, it's probably off Russell Mill. It was,
yeah,
I think it was off near the, it was, some of it was missing, but a
Yeah.
lot of it was still there.
yeah. All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes.
Move.
Moved by Bill,
Second?
seconded by Ally. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Unanimous. All right, we're all set. So that takes us through that agenda item, and now we're like, our next meeting's coming up on April 14th, 2026.
Looks busy. Looks
We're
busy.
gonna have a bit, so just to warn everybody, we got John coming back, right, so a full
What-
strength,
we got
and
what?
perhaps a new member joining us, but we won't speculate yet, but
What was the other thing you said first? What's that night? A lot going on?
there's a lot going on, David says. There's gonna be a heavy agenda,
Oh.
so we're busy tonight.
Can you give us a preview?
You've got three NOIs, couple of new houses off of Chestnut. Do you know where that is?
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got New England Power submitting some big new NOI for some work on the distribution line. And what was the other one? The other one was, I think, construction of an ADU. So, and there's still time for additional filings before the deadline.
What's the deadline for filing?
That'd be Monday,
Monday, okay.
yeah.
Our first ADU?
Yeah, that's exciting, I suppose, yeah.
Well, in these two new houses, I should say it's two new houses and an ADU.
Oh.
But then there's also going to be a separate one for an ADU.
There might be some active interest in these coming
Yeah,
in
I
front of
think
us,
so.
yeah.
Well, there definitely will be for the Chestnut Lane one.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of calls from neighbors asking me what's going on up there.
Exactly, exactly, and we may see that before the planning board gets a chance. All right, well, good. Well, do we have a motion then to adjourn? Moved by Bill, seconded by Ally. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. All set. Thank you, everyone. Good night.